All right, now we're going to talk about our punt return situations, and you got to get in your frame of mind of where you are in the game. Punt return means you just stopped them. It's a very positive team coming out on the field. Um, you just stopped the defense or the offense. Your defense is off the field. You're getting the ball back. It's a very positive time. What you don't want to do is let the momentum switch and you make a mistake situationally on this punt return team that allows the other team to keep the ball or to put you in bad spots. So um, for punt return situations, these are some of the things we came up with talking about there being backed up. So maybe now this is something we wanted to work. We've got them backed up. Now there's a ton of momentum going in our direction. We just stopped them. They're on the -4, -3, -2 yard line, and we're going to try to maybe go for the block. Maybe do something a little different. Maybe even set up a return. Sometimes we would uh, do more of our mash there if we didn't think we could get to it. Just because you usually can set up a really nice return because they're going to keep everybody in and max protect, which is going to give you a chance to have a pretty good return, getting the ball to +30, +25, something like that, if you play your cards right. Next thing, they're punting into the end zone. So, this is something you want to work a lot with your return guys. When do they fair catch it? When do they catch it, try to run out? When do they let it roll? So, the old football rule was put the heels on the 10, it goes over your head, let it go. That's a pretty good answer. Um, but if it goes back to the 9, I guess that's okay for us. We weren't real worried about that. We always on punt return tried to put guys with the toughest mindset back there. It was always important to me on punt return that our guys weren't scared to catch the ball, scared to try to get yards. We want to see punt return as an opportunity to make a play. And so, we always put somebody back there that we trusted, and if they wanted to, be on the 10 and step back 2 steps and catch the ball, we weren't going to say much to them. But that is something you have to work because kids don't naturally understand that. So if you don't teach that kid what your expectation is for him when they're kicking it in the end zone, then he's liable to catch the thing at the 1 or who knows. So don't take that for granted. Definitely something you need to work. Um, if we got a lead in the fourth quarter, we would always go into a safe punt mode, safe punt return where maybe we're just fair catching it. Maybe we put 2 returners back. Maybe you don't put anybody back and you just play defense and let it roll. Uh, those are scenarios that you work. I mean, I just said we want a punt return to be an aggressive play for us and all that, but there's exceptions to every rule. If you're up 21-7 in the fourth quarter, 42-28, doesn't matter. If you're up 2 scores, they're punting the ball back to you. The dumbest thing you could do is turn the ball over. So, we would make that different. Instead of just telling them to play regular punt return, but be smarter, that ended up happening a lot in the game, and then you get real conservative in the first quarter and when you're tied and stuff like that. So we always made some conversion of a safe team. Maybe it was even different personnel, but it definitely was a different call where whatever you feel most comfortable about. If you just want to catch it, you put 2 returners back there. If you just want to be real conservative, you play defense and don't put anybody back and let it roll and just take the ball wherever it ends. Automatic Peter call. First touching, if you watched our punt, of course, we talked about this from the punt standpoint. Now we'll talk about it on the punt return. If we're on punt return and they run down there and somehow we don't catch the ball, we let it roll, and they come down and touch the ball. All they do is touch it, and they just walk to the sideline or whatever. They're just trying to look cool. You'll see this once a year or so where somebody doesn't pick the ball up and hand it to the official. They just kind of swat at it, touch it, whatever. The minute they do that, it's what's called first touching, and we are going to get the ball right there at the worst case scenario. So we try to talk to our guys about if they do that, pick the ball up and run. Whoever's nearest to it, go get the ball, pick it up. Even if you get 2 yards, we'll get the choice of 2 yards or where they first touched it. But if you score, we get the touchdown. But if you fumble, we get it back where it was first touching. So there's nothing bad that can happen for us if they touch the football. and don't pick it up and hand it to the official. So kind of a little known thing there that we did do once or twice over the last 7 or 8 years. Um, that was an advantage to us because we had worked it. I'm not saying you should work this weekly, but it's something you should bring up to your team, especially to your punt returner. Um, Understanding when we block a kick, you know, so we block a kick, it goes behind the line of scrimmage. That's not necessarily a fumble. That's not a live ball in terms of if they get it, it's not their ball. It's our ball either way. But we need to try to scoop and score, try to pick it up and run. If we block it and it goes forward, goes past the line of scrimmage, then of course we can't just pick it up. It could be a fumble. So common sense stuff there. But again, 2020, I wouldn't take into account that kids knew this stuff. I would make sure we walked through it with them. And then finally, a free kick scenario, which is one of the oddest things that comes up in the game, but seems like you hear about it every so often. What happens in a free kick scenario is the rules in football, kind of an odd rule. If you fair catch a punt, wherever you fair caught that punt, you can run your kickoff team out there with nobody in front of them, kick the ball off the kickoff tee, and if you kick it through the uprights, it's 3 points. Now you say, well, why would someone want to do that? Because obviously when you kick it, you give up possession. So if you miss the kick, then the other team gets the ball back. So 99.999% of the time, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good to run that kickoff team out there and try to get 3 points. If you're close enough to kick it through the uprights, you're close enough to go for the touchdown. The only exception would be into half into game, where maybe say there's 10 seconds left on the clock and they're punting to us, and we got our punt returner about midfield or somewhere where we know we got at least a chance to kick it through the uprights. So you may tell him, hey, you got a fair catch. You can't let it roll and pick it up. It has to be a fair catch. So he has to do whatever he's got to do to fair catch it. He fair catches the ball. There's 2 or 3 seconds left at this point, and you feel like you got a better chance of making this long kickoff in through the goalpost than you do throwing up the Hail Mary or whatever other situation you got for 2 or 3 seconds left in the game. So that can happen. I've seen it happen. It can happen. And it's definitely something, if you've worked, your kids will run out there and execute it. And they'll understand. If you haven't, then it's really hard to on the fly tell them what to do and then really understand. So that's another scenario to work. Ultimately, when dealing with punt return, I think that it's very situation based anyway. That most of your regular punt returns are going to be, are we trying to block the kick here? Can we block the kick here? How good is our returner? Are we trying to set up a return? These are the general questions you're going to deal with 75 to 80% of the punt returns. And you got to have a philosophy on what is your goal on punt return. Ours was always to be aggressive, try to get some yards, not to be scared to fumble, things like that. Some people's is the opposite. They just want to possess the ball. I don't really think there's anything wrong with that. But you need to figure out what you want to do. But then add in these scenarios, because these scenarios are going to come up regardless of what your philosophy is on punt return. So make sure you understand what you're going to do when they're backed up, when they're putting in the end zone. What's your safe plan when you have a lead? Know the little kind of quirky things like first touching and blocking what happens when you block a kick and free kicks and all those scenarios. So if you have any questions or there's anything we can do to help you, reach out to us on Twitter, email, Facebook, wherever, and we'll try to answer them. If we missed anything or if there's more scenarios, feel free to add. We're trying to learn too. So hope this helped talking about punt return situations, and let us know if you need anything.